So one thing I want to discuss in regards to the Origin SMP is whether there's going to be actually lore in the server like the Dream SMP or not. Yesterday I made a theory discussing the potentiality that these two servers are linked in some way, shape or form, as recently while doing a live stream on the Origin SMP, both Rambo and Tubbo talked about the lore of the Dream SMP and the direction that it's currently been heading and how they're not quite enjoying it anymore. At least in a way where they want to have fun with friends, but they can't exactly do that too often because it might potentially go against the lore of the server and the character interactions and all that nonsense. Before we go into it, I'd like to ask you guys to go check down below, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're new around here, it'd be highly appreciated if you just leave a like on the video or subscribe if you want to. Either way, let's actually get into this. The main core of the discussion that both Tubbo and Rambo had in this very lengthy stream clip on stream was mainly how they much more preferred the original style of lore and scripting when it came to the Dream SMP, where it was very loosely planned, where essentially things were come up out of a whim and improv all the way to a certain point. For example, everyone in the Lemannberg side of things, aside from Eric, did not even know that Eric was going to betray them, while everyone over on the Dream SMP side of things back at that time frame did know, allowing for better things to happen without the server, as well as like the more character dynamics that have been introduced more recently that made it very difficult for people to enjoy having fun with other people on the server. For example, Tubbo is not able to go over and have some fun times with Philza and the Dream SMP, mainly because character lore says that Tubbo and Philza hate each other because Tubbo put an ankle monitor on Philza and attempted to murder Technoblade far long beforehand while he was the president. Essentially, the idea behind it right now is that Origin SMP is mainly just a server just for the fun of it being a server. A server where they can all go on a day-to-day basis and just do their own thing and not have to worry about encroaching on potential character lore or encroaching on some form of lore. Quite similar to how the lore of Dream SMP was back in the original Lemannberg days. Back when everything wasn't as serious as what it was now, and where people didn't think that everyone's going to break the lore or break character dynamics by talking to other people for the sake of having fun for a day. In the conversation, Tubbo talked about how he used to pretty much stream on the Dream SMP almost every single day doing just random shenanigans on the server, but now he barely hops on it because he doesn't exactly want to hop on for the expectation of some form of lore or story purposes that comes with the Dream SMP now. There are of course some exceptions with some players in the Dream SMP who don't get involved with the lore too much, that do stream every day, like Foolish, who just does his own thing. And essentially, Rambo and Tubbo continue to go on to talk about how they much prefer the original way the lore was set out. It was more just like on a whim type of thing, where there was barely anything to it, as aside from a slight bit of story that will be done, but the rest of it was just improv as it went on. Of course, over time as things went on, it slowly got more and more heavily scripted to make the story as entertaining and as dramarific as it possibly can be, but unfortunately at the cost of everything getting a bit too serious and making it so you can't exactly just go on to have a bit of fun for a day if you want to go play with other people that your character supposedly hates. According to Rambo, though, apparently the lore of the Dream SMP is going to be heading back into this more improv state in the future, but let's talk about what's going to be happening with the Origin SMP and whether there's going to be any lore to it anytime soon, because that's what you guys are probably here for. Essentially speaking, there's already been some bits and pieces of quote-unquote lore that's really just more of a storytelling practices and streams, where certain events are happening, like let's say the character of Fundy just likes stealing things all the goddamn time, or the pub house and the air that's been made, and so many other little bits and pieces that have been occurring over the past few weeks in the Origin SMP streams, where there's been a bit more story being told. My guess is that eventually they will build some form of background behind each and every single character, that they have an idea of what they want to care about. A potential example, maybe eventually we'll have a background that does somehow link it back to the Dream SMP, or maybe that theory completely ends up being taken out of the water because it doesn't actually mean anything. I do believe eventually the Origin SMP will have some form of lore and actual story to it, but it will never be to the extent of the Dream SMP, or at least where the Dream SMP currently is. Mainly because too many people prefer to go on to the Origin SMP to have fun with friends with a bit of storytelling than actually go on the Dream SMP for full-on lore. Right now, there's more people on the Origin SMP on a consistent basis than there are on the Dream SMP, mainly because they all know that the Origin SMP is mainly just for fun at this point in time. But as I said before, there have definitely been a lot of storytelling, a lot of little bits and pieces of lore and character building on the SMP at this point in time. Personally speaking, I believe that we'll probably see the Origin SMP start building big stories in this very long-term future, but I also believe that we'll won't ever see anything to the sheer magnitude that the Dream SMP has gotten to. I do personally believe that if the theory that I posted yesterday does end up becoming true, that they'll have some fun way to link it in and have some more backstory to the characters that are in the Origin SMP and why they're all friends. But I also personally believe that it won't ever have any for real conflicts that will actually break any form of character dynamic that makes it so it's unable to be friendly, fun times in the Origin SMP. I personally believe it's going to just be like the more improvisation type of lore, where they are trying to sell a story, but it's like more or less just like whatever happens, happens. Essentially speaking, it's going to be more like the original days of lore in the Dream SMP, but it will never actually excel past the stage where things start to get a little more serious, as most people are only in the Origin SMP for the fun of it. We may also see more people from the Dream SMP start to join it as they start to get a little bit drained out by the full-on lore-based server that the Dream SMP is, which hey, the more the merrier, all I can say there. It'd definitely be fun to cover some more fan Origin and fan ideas that people come up with for everybody who attempts to join the Origin SMP, so I'll definitely be covering those in the future, but until next time guys, I'm going back to the dark place which I once came. Anyway, goodbye.